Hello, receiving students, teachers, and 6Cs. Thank you. Take your seats. Okay, receiving students and 6Cs, in your last lesson, you went through with Mr. Kanau and you did some interesting activities. I'd like one of you in the model class to tell me what did you do in your last lesson. Receiving students, please tell your teachers. Let's hear from Jason. Jason, what did you do in your last lesson? Or you can tell me one thing that you learned in your last lesson.
We look at animals without the backbones.
All right, good. Receiving students, did you say you learned about animals without backbones? Good. Or wants to tell us more on the last lesson.
Why don't you have a backbone?
Okay, very good. He's now giving us the topic of your last lesson. Now, give me some examples of animals without backbones. Or you went out and you did an excursion outside looking at animals without backbones. And I know you have listed many. Give me some examples. Emmanuel?
Worm.
Very good. Worm, earthworm. Next one. Robert?
Tadpole.
Tadpole. All right, good. So I know many of you have more than 5 or 6 names of animals that you have listed in your last lesson. All right, class, in today's lesson, you will be watching a short video and answering questions related to the short video that you will be watching. Also, receiving students in the model class, you will be taking down notes as you view the tape, or you will write down important notes during the lesson or while watching the short video. All right, in your last lesson also you talked about, you listed or you have observed a frog and a lizard. Right? Do you think the frog and the lizard have bones? All right, in today's lesson we will go through finding out if those 2 animals have bones, and you will learn about other things about animals with backbones. All right, class, our topic for today, bone members. This topic is based on the strand living things, substrand nature of living things, and the outcome 6.2.1. So what is our topic again, class? Bone members. Again? Bone members. All right. Right, receiving teachers, I'd like you to copy this diagram on the board for your students. You will be using this diagram while watching the short video. This diagram is also in your workbook. If you have your student workbook, you can refer to that. If you don't have your student workbook, please copy this diagram down. Thank you. Welcome. 3 or 5. Need one more. Six. Okay, pass it. right, let's go through the diagram together. I'd like you to pay attention because during my explanation, I will tell you what you will be doing in today's lesson using the worksheet based on this diagram. All right. The first box right at the top is written animals. Then you have an arrow pointing down to the next box, which is, we have a name called vertebrates. Right. Vertebrates, or you can say animals with backbones. All right. There are 5 arrows showing the 5 different groups. First one is the fish. And in this box here, you will draw or name an example of a fish. Right. So while watching, you can draw or you can write. I will also give you time after watching the tape to complete this worksheet. All right, next one, arrow pointing down to amphibian. In here, you are asked to draw or name the picture. Next one, we have mammal. You have a picture of, I won't tell you, you have to write the name down of the 2 pictures. And you can also give one more example. There is a blank space here where you can draw one more example of mammals. Next, arrow pointing down to birds. It's the same again. You draw and give one example. And the last one, the next group of vertebrates called reptiles, you can do the same, draw or name an example of a reptile. All right, class, you will, like I mentioned earlier, you will be taking notes. And those notes will help you to do your activity or complete your worksheet. So make sure you watch and take notes down. All right, are we ready now? Sitting up straight, we will now begin. Students and teachers, as you can see, I am in the Botanical Garden in Port Moresby. In your last lesson, you learned about animals without backbones. So in today's lesson, we will go and see and find out which animals have backbones and the different groups they belong to. Class, bones are found inside the body. You have bones, and as you can see, the Victorian crown pigeon has bones. Animals that have backbones come under this common name called vertebrates. Animals with backbones are divided into 5 main groups. As you can see, the cassowary. The cassowary is an example of an animal with the backbone, and it comes under this main group called birds. Can you think of 2 common things birds have? Did you list 2 common things that birds have? 1, they have feathers. 2, they lay eggs. Remember, not all birds fly. Class, as you can see, the crocodile. Another group of animals that have backbones are called reptiles. Compare a snake and a crocodile. How do their skin look like? Or where do they live? Do they have anything in common? Crocodiles and snakes are examples of reptiles. Class, if you have said they have scaly body or body covering, you are correct, because reptiles do have scales, or their body covering has scales or are rough. They also lay eggs. Students, the next group of animals that we will be looking at are called amphibians. Now look at the frog. Where does it start its life? On the land or in the water? If you say in the water, you're correct. Frogs start their life in the water and later they change to live on the land. Frog is an example of an amphibian. Other examples are salamander and newts. Class, the second last group of animals that we will be looking at are called mammals. Can you think of 1 common thing about mammals? Let's look at some examples of mammals in the garden. You can see the tree kangaroo, the wallaby, rabbits, and others that you can think of like pigs, cow. Those are just few examples of mammals. Now back to our question. Can you name or list down 1 common thing that mammals have? Did you say, all right, they feed their young with milk? All mammals feed their young with breast milk. Class, the last group of animals with backbones that we will be looking at is called fish. Class, I'd like you to list 2 common things that fish have. Did you write they have scales and they live in water? If you have those 2 answers, you are correct, or any other answers beside mine. The next question that I'd like you to think of is, how do they breathe? Did you say they breathe through their gills? All fish breathe through their gills. Class, we have just gone through some examples of vertebrates that live in the botanical garden. All right, class, I hope you have enjoyed watching this short video and you have taken down some notes. Your teacher will assist you, and I will give you some minutes to complete working on your worksheet, and we will go through correcting the activity together in class. So I'd like you to discuss among yourselves with your group members if possible, and try to come up as much as possible with answers relating to the worksheet. You can choose, you can write the names instead of drawing. And if you think you can still remember, you can draw the one example of those animals under different groups. Right, you can discuss in group. You help each other to complete your worksheet. Take one more here. And maybe later you can explain, just draw the pictures or write the names. Just write the names down. I know you're finding it hard to draw the picture, so you write the names. Just write the names of that, the example. For example, fish. Can you think of other examples of fish in the salt water, in the fresh water? Just choose one. It's common. Tell me. Tilapia? Yeah, that's an example of a fish. Okay, so you can write that name down. If you want to explain, maybe later, what fish does. Yeah. Because your instruction says draw and name an example. Draw and name an example. Not explain or write the sentence. Okay, you are to draw and give an example. Meaning you draw that animal and name it. If you're drawing a pig, you draw the pig and write pig. But I don't know where pig comes under, which group. You will tell me. Okay, good. You didn't start yet. Come on, quickly. And you? Yeah, you can draw or name or write the name down. Draw or write the name. Yes, under this fish. Give an example of a fish. Yes, but you don't write that down. You just write the name of a fish that you know of, that you eat. Okay. All right, I hope you have at least drawn or written the names of those examples of different animals in the spaces provided on your worksheet. I am going to stop you very shortly, so please, class, work fast and finish off where you're supposed to finish your work. right, I will also ask some students in the class to tell me what notes they took in their books. If you have written anything down, you will tell the class, because I told you at the beginning that you were to take notes while watching the short video. All right, I'll stop you now, class. Let's see how many of us have finished. If you have finished, please put your hands up and let me see your work. So we have Emmanuel. Come up in front, please. Emmanuel, display your worksheet and tell the class what you have done. Okay, the rest of the class, please be still and finish off what you are doing. We are going to now hear from Emmanuel, or he will present to us what he has. Receiving students, you can do the same as well. Get the mic. And you stand here, stand here. Stand here, and you point. All right, class, looking up, Emmanuel is going to tell us what he has done.
In the first box, in fish I draw catfish. In reptile I drew crocodile. Amphibian I drew green frog, and in bed I draw cassowary. And in the mammals is human and dog.
All right, class, give Emmanuel one big clap. I wonder if you have listened well during his presentation. Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Take your seat. That's okay. All right, one thing that Emmanuel did not do is the last one. He didn't complete the last picture here. An example of mammals, right? So he has catfish, under fish, the group fish. Under reptiles, he has crocodile, drawn. Amphibians, he has frog, bird, cassowary, and he named, this picture is showing human, or if you have women, it's still all right, and dog. Okay. And other examples here, anyone got another example of a mammal? Hands up if you have drawn a pig here for mammal. Pig, okay, Oa, good. Who's got another example? What about tree kangaroo? Should come under here. You have rabbit, yes. Okay, whale, good. Whale is interesting, an interesting animal. It comes under mammals. Why? Because it feeds its young with milk. Unlike the other fish, they lay eggs, whereas whale does not lay egg but give birth to their young. All right, now your notes on what you have written during the video show, I'd like you to write them neatly in your exercise book, because at the end of the week I am going to collect your exercise books. Receiving teachers, you may do the same also, and I will mark the books and making sure that you have some notes written in your exercise book beside the worksheet that was given to you. All right, class, our summary comes from your worksheet. It's there already in your worksheet. So you don't have to copy that down. Your summary is on your worksheet. Is that clear with you? You have the 5 groups of vertebrates or animals with backbones. Guess what our key phrase would be? Okay, our key phrase for today's lesson is animals with backbones. Our next lesson, we will look at building blocks of life in plants. In your next lesson, you will be constructing a model of a plant cell. And receiving teachers, these are the materials I'd like your students to bring. Picture of, you would provide picture of a plant cell, small cardboard box, students do that, small seeds, small stones, small plastics, old newspapers, green grass, rags, sticky tape, and glue. Okay, with that, thank you class for your participation in today's lesson.